Today, I'm going to show you literally how to guarantee success or guarantee failure as an entrepreneur. And the outcome that you get is a direct reflection of the conscious choice that you make in how you run your business. Let me explain. I've worked with over 500 online coaches and helped them scale their businesses. And I see very common patterns in the ones who make a ton of money and scale to $100,000 a month and well above that. And the ones that stay stuck and spin their tires and never get past where they're currently at and get to the next level. And so today I'm going to break that down and show you what I've learned from scaling I don't even know at this point. I should probably figure this out, but a ton of online coaches pass 100K a month and stay there. So the way you have to look at business is in levels and with bosses, right? It's like a video game. When you just start the game, you're level 0. You have no equipment, no armor, no weapons, no skills, and you have to go out there and acquire all of these things, right? You have to go acquire these skills to actually help you provide value to the market to then get rewarded for it, right? So like in a video game, you go cut down trees and increase your wood cutting, and then you get better at that, and then you get more wood per swing of your axe, and then you get a better axe, right? And stuff like that. And so what entrepreneurs don't understand sometimes, well, at least the ones that fail and fizzle out, is the only reason why they don't get to where they want to get to is because they don't stick around for long enough to beat the level or to beat the boss at that current level. So for example, level 1 is finding product market fit with your offer. It's identifying a very painful problem for an audience that has money and urgency to solve that very painful problem, right? Not a painful problem, their most painful problem. Where most people go wrong here is they say, hey, I'm good at this thing. I like talking about this thing. I'm gonna help people with this thing. But you don't even know if they want the thing. And you don't know how to package it up and position it properly and communicate it effectively enough for them to realize that they do want the thing, even if they do, right? And when you realize that and it clicks, that's when, making that click is when you beat the boss. That's when you slay the dragon and you pass go, collect $200, and now you're at level 2, right? Level 2 would be something along the lines of marketing, right? When you have something to sell, now you need people to sell it to. And so it's kind of marketing sales, just client acquisition in general, right? You can group marketing and sales in the same one. So client acquisition, that's the term I'll use. And where a lot of people get stuck here is they maybe spend a few $100s on ads and then they say, ads don't work. Whereas in reality, it's you didn't make ads work. Chances are there's somebody else out there making a disgusting amount of money with your exact same offer that's using ads, and they got it to work, which means ads work for your offer. You're just not good enough yet. You haven't acquired the skills to make really good ads, or you just haven't done enough, right? And so if you want to guarantee success at something, you have to just do a disgusting amount of reps, because at a certain level, volume negates luck and eliminates uncertainty. When you test 100 ads, you have a much better chance of success at finding one winning ad than somebody who only tests 10. Same thing goes with the ad spend, right? And so it's so important that you realize that. And where a lot of people get stuck is they face resistance at this next level. They're not good enough yet. They haven't acquired the skills to defeat that boss at that next level. And they interpret that as, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing because this is not easy. And then so they niche hop. They change their offer, they change the business model, they flip-flop back and forth. And when I say they, I mean me. I've done this way too many times. to be proud of. I don't even like talking about it, but it's necessary and critical because you have to go through it to realize that like it's a false way of thinking. It's a false way of seeing the world. And when you switch something, you start back at level 0. You're just in a new thing. So now you set yourself like a few years backwards, and now you have to catch up, right? You might get through that faster than it took you the first time because you already did it in something. So you like gained a little bit of knowledge and experience, and now you like kind of have a bit of a foundation to work off of, but you're still setting yourself back a lot further. And then from there, it's like, cool. Then you like when you have a great offer and you crack client acquisition, then from there it's like delivery or like systems and team building. And so what really happens next is like when you're faced with challenges, like let's say we're dealing with like the team building aspect, right? And I'll tell you a bit of a story about this. Now, right now I think there's 6 or 7 of us on the team, and leadership is not easy, and it's not one of those skills that's like quantifiable and tangible. Like I can't just like read a leadership book and be like, all right, I'm a good leader. I know how to build an awesome team and find, hire, train, onboard, manage, lead top world-class A players. It's like, no, I've had to hire, fire, and have a lot of people quit on me to learn from every single one. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. And then you can kind of build a bit of like I don't know what the word is, but like an archetype of what I'm looking for, of the person for that role that I'm looking for, right? And then over time with more reps, I get better and better and better at it, right? And this is kind of the journey that I'm going through right now. And so when things get hard, when either like you make the wrong hires or people aren't doing what they should be doing, no matter how many times you say they should, you start banging your fucking head into your desk. You're like, why isn't this working? Why don't they just do the thing? And then, and then you start thinking, it's like, oh, okay, like maybe I'm in the wrong model, right? Or like maybe this other business, oh, maybe I should start a software company, or like, right? And then it's like, you're just looking for the grass is greener on the other side thing. But the grass isn't green on the other side because then you have to start from level 0. The grass is greener where you water it. Because here's what happens. If you start from level 0, like let's say you switch from like coaching to like a software company, right? I'm not saying this is wrong or right? This is an example. But like, let's say I were to do that. Because I faced resistance at the leadership level, leadership systems, like finances and operations and stuff, these are all like skills and things that are like new to me. And so I face resistance there. That doesn't mean that like, oh, the coaching model is broken and I can't scale further, right? It's like, no, I'm just not good enough yet. I haven't had enough skills and experience. I haven't hired and fired enough people to master that, right? And every single time I do bring on a new team member, I learn so much more. And so that reinforces the principle of the more reps you do, the stronger you get, right? It's like the more time you spend under the bar, bench pressing it and heavier weights, it's like you're gonna get bigger muscles and get stronger and lift heavier, right? And so like, let's say if I did like switch business models or switch like businesses entirely, it's like, okay, maybe I pass, I get through level 1 and 2 and get to level 3, and I face the exact same problem where I find a product that's really good, and then I figure out how to get clients, but then I still don't know how to build an awesome team and do all that kind of stuff, right? And build like systems and have it like run without you kind of thing and be very, very profitable. It's like, I'm gonna have the exact same problem in a different vertical 2 to 3 years from now. And I'll be in the exact same spot where I'm at now. And so like, if you think about that just as an example, and don't worry, I'm not like, as an example, I'm not fucking shutting everything down, starting a software company. I'm just like using that as a drastic example to help kind of prove the point. It's like when you're faced with resistance, it just means you have a skill deficiency or an experience gap, right? There's just a skill gap based on experience. And so it doesn't mean you have to like stop doing what you're doing or like this thing doesn't work. It's just, I'm not good enough at this thing yet. And when you hold that stance and you hold that frame and perspective in every aspect of your life, that's when life gets on easy mode. That's when you just like speed run the game and you defeat the boss at every level and you just rip through everything, right? And so for example, like my first business was an advertising agency in the mortgage space. I was running Google and Facebook ads for mortgage brokers, helping them get clients. It took me, I think like a year. It took me about a year to get to 6 figures, right? And then I got to the point where I faced a lot of resistance. I fucking hated it. So I shut it down. But I only shut it down after my business coach who helped me get it to 6 figures asked me if I wanted to be his client success manager and his head coach to teach everybody else how I was able to get there. So I was like, sure. And then I started taking sales calls. And then because my background was in ads, I started running ads. And so when I joined the team, he was doing about 40 grand a month. 8 months later, after running ads, and then I was signing clients and coaching them all, our biggest month was like 220 grand a month. And so when I ended up leaving that, and then I started my own company, Summit, and I went from 0 to $217,000 in a month in my 8th month, which is exponentially faster growth than going from 0 to like 8 to 9K a month in my old agency in more time in a year, right? And so I got a lot of experience and reps through not only grinding it out with my agency, but then also working with hundreds of coaches and agency owners and consultants as the client success manager, right? And then I was also able to just spend a lot of money on my ads, not on my ads, but the guy that I worked for on his ads to develop that skill and refine it and figure out how to make ads work. And then it was no surprise that we went from 40K to 220 in like 8 months. And then when I did on my own, because I'd already gone through levels 1, 2, and 3, or 1 and 2 or whatever before, I speed ran through those in my own thing. But then I got stuck at the level where I was stuck at before in those other 2 things. And so the grass is not greener. The woman in the red dress is not prettier and sexier and more attractive. It just feels like that. But what you don't see is that like every single thing, every opportunity has downsides that come with it. Everything has pros and cons. What we do is we tend to only see the pros and we delude ourselves to think that something else doesn't have the cons that my current thing has. And so this is true for business, relationships, right? For anything. And so like even like material things, it's like there's always going to be a bigger house. There's gonna be like, I just bought this condo, just moved in a few weeks ago. Pretty sick, right? There's gonna be another spot with a nicer view in a bigger place, right? It's like the penthouse a few floors up, like, but then the next building, like one that gets built, it's like that one's gonna be even nicer. Or like the car, it's like I bought a Lambo Urus, but then it's like, okay, but then there's like the SVJ, and then there's like, you get that, and you're like, hey, well, what about the Bugatti, right? It's like, none of that shit matters. And it's all gonna be like, it's all going to seem so much better when you don't have it. And then when you get it, it's like, oh, okay, this is like the new normal. And okay, like I bought this really nice condo. There's like fucking shit on the walls from the previous owner. Just put like toothpaste over like the nail holes. It's like, it doesn't fix anything, right? It's like, it still has problems. Or like the front door, there's like there's like a wind, like whirring sound from like different pressure levels between here and like the hallway. And so it just like whirs and buzzes and shit. It's like, it's just because something seems like more sexy and more attractive doesn't mean it doesn't have problems. And so you just have to get better at solving the ones that you're dealing with right now. Beat the level in the game that you're playing right now to become better, to level up your skills and guarantee success. You will guarantee failure if you just keep hopping around, because you're stuck in that cycle of going from level 0 to level 1 and then back to level 0 in a different thing, and then back to level 0 in a different thing when it gets hard. And so you will never get to where you want to get to if you keep doing that. The most successful people that I've ever met and that I've ever read about are ones that do the same boring shit. They choose one game, they play around with it, and they do it for like 50 years and then become billionaires. They don't change and hop and a bunch of different things. Now, you have to understand that, yes, your hypothesis can be wrong, and it should be, right? But you adjust, right? You adjust your rudder, you shift directions a little bit, but you still have the same destination in mind. And so, yes, it's important to choose the right vehicle and the right opportunity, the right boat. But you'll never achieve a disgusting amount of success and fulfillment if you keep switching boats and switching vehicles all the time when things get hard. So stick with it, level up, close that skill gap, get better at what you're doing, and you're going to achieve everything that you want in your life. That's it. Goodbye.